Whether your cabinets go all the way up to the ceiling or spaced down from the ceiling, crown molding is pretty well accepted as the treatment that needs to be at the top of the cabinets. What we actually like to do is use a molding like this, which has somewhat of a crown profile but lays flat against the cabinet, and then bring another piece out over the top of it to get kind of a combined built-up look like this. And this is simply a piece that we put a routed profile over. Now what I'm going to do in this instance is put this piece on first, and then I will mark the mitered cuts on the other piece. I've just found it's easier to do that. So I'm going to put these pieces up first. Now it's important to reach up here and make certain that we're flush with the top of the cabinet. I may be off just a touch there, so I'm going to bump that up just a little bit. Okay, I'll put a little bit of glue in that joint. Attach it. Nail through this bottom edge too, and that's a pretty delicate edge, but because I'm using headless pins, I don't have to worry about anything. The first piece is on. Now I'm ready to mark the second piece. Sometimes we call this a dust cover piece, but again, it's really just a piece that we've put a routed edge on, and I usually like to show about 1/4 of an inch of flat coming out past the piece that I put on the face of the cabinet. So what I'm going to do is just take my pencil and mark that outside corner. Now when I go to the miter saw, I know that my 45 cut just needs to pass through, right through this little mark that I made. And if I mark it this way, I'll even know which way I need to pivot the saw. I'm going to install the long piece across the front first. Just need to double check that. Now I'll be nailing down into the top of the cabinet, into my molding, right there. One of the nice things about combining two moldings like this instead of one bigger one is that it's, fitting each joint is easier. It's a lot easier to fit two small joints than one really big one. And also I like the fact that by being able to nail down through the top of this trim, I'm really anchoring this to the cabinets. Even if somebody grabs and pulls on this, it's really going to be solid. So all I'm going to do now is put a few more headless pins up through this piece into my top piece. Now we've dressed up both the top of the cabinet and the bottom edge of the cabinet.